Shalom friends, I am your friend Jojo with part 2 from the series For Thine is the Kingdom. Have you watched part 1? I encourage you to do so before listening to this video. Now my focus is on Matthew 6 verse 13, specifically the part that says For Thine is the Kingdom. In the previous video, I spoke about the word for, and it is key in Hebrew, and it speaks of certainty, something that is unquestionable, something that is sure, a conjunction that points to something that is already established. Now, today I want to go to the next word. Some translation has it as for thine or for yours. So the word thine or yours in Hebrew is lek. And this also speaks to something that belongs to someone. Now, if you look at the Hebrew letters in the word lek, there are two letters, lamed and kaf, right? And remember, each Hebrew letter has a value. So if we look on these two letters, on the value of these two letters, we would get a value of 50. Now the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about the number 50 is generations. And when we think about Matthew 6 verse 13, remember, this is the latter part of the prayer that Yeshua taught his disciples. We would say the Our Father prayer, right? And when I think of generations, I think of each person having the opportunity to declare that the kingdom belongs to God. Declaring that the kingdom of God is established, and it is a kingdom that has no end, right? Now, 50 also speaks to territory. And when we think of a kingdom, we think of taking over territories, having dominion. And the kingdom of God is superior to all other kingdoms. And so though it is of a supernatural nature, the time will come when the kingdom of God will fully manifest in the earth. Let us also remember that we are a part of the kingdom. Right? We represent the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is in us, and we carry out the mandates of the kingdom of God here on the earth. Now, if you can recall, I remember I gave a value for the word for, which is the Hebrew word ki. And ki has a value of 30, right? And I spoke about the lamed and what 30 means. Now, if we add, so if we're going to say for thine is or for yours is, it would be ki lek. Ki lek. Remember, ki means for and lek is yours. Yours is or thine is. So ki lek would give us a value of 80. Now, when I think about 80, I think about the mouth, because 80 in Hebrew represents, or it is the letter known as pay, and pay represents the mouth, right? And remember, if we go further up in Matthew 6, we see where the prayer is being taught. Now, when we think of a prayer is not, a prayer is supposed to be spoken. It's supposed to be made or done from the mouth, right? Because it is a declaration. And this section of the Our Father prayer is reiterating that, guess what? The kingdom of God, is here. The kingdom of God cannot be shaken. This kingdom is of a supernatural encounter. So it means that man cannot get rid of this kingdom. This kingdom has been established by God. And so whether you're a child, whether you're a teenager, whether you're an adult, once we speak, once we use our mouth or pay and we say, for thine is the kingdom, we are continuing to make the world, to make creation know, and to make other kingdoms know that, guess what? This kingdom that I am speaking about can never be shaken. This kingdom that I am speaking about is here to stay. Now, the number 80 also speaks about abundance and treasuries. And the kingdom of God, even though it's of a supernatural nature, there are a lot of treasures to be had, right? The kingdom of God has everything we need to function. Now, when I think about a king having a palace, the king has everything in that palace, everything in that territory for the people, for the well-being of the people. And so we being believers, we who are, and the Bible makes mention that we are citizens of a kingdom, right? We have dual citizenship, right? We are citizens of a kingdom. So it means that when I pray this prayer, I'm accessing the treasuries of the kingdom of God. I'm accessing the abundance that the kingdom of God has. Now, the question is, have you been accessing these treasures? Have you been accessing this abundance, the prosperity that the kingdom of God has, that you and I are declaring? Are we really accessing what it has? Now, number 80 also speaks of priesthood. And the kingdom of God represents the priesthood of God. Because remember, the kingdom of God is something that is separate, right? Something that has a unique purpose. The kingdom of God serves the king, who is Hashem, the Lord of hosts, the God of heaven and earth. Now, number 80 also speaks to throne, right? And it also speaks to a banner. And when I think of a banner, I think of an advertisement, right? And also I think of a certain standard that is set. So within the kingdom of God, truth, definitely, the standard of the kingdom of God is truth, emet in Hebrew. And when we think of 80 representing a banner, and thinking about the kingdom of God, it speaks of one's identity. So I represent the kingdom of God. My identity is in God. Because guess what? Genesis 1 tells us that he has created us with his image and his likeness, right? Also, what I love about, this phrase, for thine, is it speaks to every generation. So every generation can benefit from this kingdom. So we continue to declare, for thine is the kingdom, for yours is the kingdom, confidently knowing, guess what? I too am a partaker of this kingdom. So when I speak, when I declare that thy kingdom, oh God, belongs to you, I am declaring that I have access, and not only me, but the generations to come has access, or the generations to come have access to this kingdom. You do not want to miss part 3 of this series. I do encourage you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Malut. Until next time, Shalom.